Hello, it's Linda Brown, independent Epicure Consultant, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to make some bone broth soup using leftover turkey from our Christmas holiday meal, and I'm going to share with you all of the Epicure products that I use and why I drink bone broth soup for good gut health. So let's start with making the broth. So I have a really big measuring cup here. It's actually got 8 cups of water in it. So I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of Epicure's chicken broth and add that to the water. Epicure's chicken broth is really low in sodium. There's only 80 milligrams of sodium per prepared cup. And that's compared to some products in the grocery store have 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium per prepared cup. So just read your labels, and if sodium's a concern for you, you might want to consider using the Epicure broth. And all of our broths are enhanced with nutritional yeast. And nutritional yeast is really high in vitamin B12, and we need B12 for healthy nerve and blood cells. So this is a really great way to add B12 to your diet using food rather than supplements. So I've added 2 tablespoons of my broth, and now I'm going to add a tablespoon of the roasted garlic aioli mix. And I love garlic, so we're also going to add 2 teaspoons of the SPG oven fry seasoning, and SPG is just short for salt, pepper, garlic. So I'll add 2 teaspoons of SPG to the water. Give that a stir. Okay. So after I made my turkey, I froze the bones in a Ziploc bag. I actually double bagged it just to make sure there wouldn't be a leak. So now I'm just going to take the bag of bones and dump it right here into my crock pot. Just like so. And then I'm just going to pour the broth over top of the bones. This is going to make a really nice big pot of bone broth. So then what I do is I just put the lid on and turn the crock pot to high, and I'm going to let this simmer in the crock pot for probably 4 to 6 hours, and when it's done simmering, I will show you the remaining steps to making bone broth soup. Now, I'm not a nutrition expert, but I can tell you from personal experience that bone broth is actually really good for your digestive health. Collagen is actually released from the bones into your soup. So if you've made homemade soup before out of bones and it becomes kind of jelly-like when you've chilled it in the fridge, that's actually a good sign. It means that that collagen has been released from the bones into your soup, and that jelly look will go away once you reheat the soup. But what's important about that collagen is that it is really good for your immune system. So I've done a little bit of research, and I've realized that this soup is really good for a condition that I have called IBS, because that collagen will help reduce inflammation in your digestive lining. So bone broth is definitely a staple in my diet because it helps me keep my IBS under control. So Knowledge is power, so do a Google search on bone broth soup and all of its benefits, and hopefully you'll find it's beneficial for you as well if you suffer from something like IBS like I do. So I'll see you back here in 4 to 6 hours once our soup is all simmering, and I'll show you the remaining steps to make our soup. Welcome back. Our soup has been simmering for the last 5 hours and we're ready for step 2. So I'm going to turn off the crock pot and unplug it. Take the lid off. Ooh, it's steaming. And then I take my oven mitts and transfer the crock pot to a cooling rack. So we'll just let that sit and cool while we prepare the vegetables for the rest of our soup. So the first thing I'm going to do is spiralize a carrot using Epicure's Veggie Twist and Spiral Slicer. So I just turn the carrot in the slicer and it makes little carrot noodles for our soup. And I'm going to spiralize this whole carrot for our soup. So now what I'm going to do is cut the end off because I'm getting very close to the blade with my hand and I don't want to cut myself. So then I put the guard on top and use the guard to spiralize the carrot, and then my fingers are protected. Okay, so now that my carrot is spiralized, I'll set that aside, and then using my ceramic knife, I'm just going to cut up 2 stalks of celery. Chop that up nice and fine. And I was very strategic about my holiday meal. So what I did was steam some broccoli and cauliflower in the SPG oven fry seasoning. So that's already pre-cooked. So I'm just going to dice up that cauliflower and broccoli a little bit more fine for our soup. Our vegetables are totally ready to go. So now what I do is take a stock pot, just like so, and turn my heat to medium-high, and heat just a little bit of olive oil. And then I add a tablespoon of Epicure's toasted onion to the stock pot. And the rest of the vegetables, just like so. And I want to saute those. So the onion is going to add some really nice flavor to our soup. And then I add just a few turns of the herbed garlic, sea salt. There's already some salt from the SPG seasoning, so we don't need a lot. And just a few turns of the tuxedo pepper to my vegetables. And we'll let those heat up. So I have a container of turkey that's left over from my holiday meal. So what I do with that is just slice it up really fine right into the stock pot with the veggies. So this is a really great way to use up your leftovers. And this makes a really big batch of soup, so my family will probably get 3 or 4 meals out of this soup. You might start to hear that simmering up. Then I just frequently stir it. And add a little bit more turkey as I go. Okay. Then what I do is I take just a garbage bowl and some grip and grab tongs, and I just want to take the bigger bones out of my crock pot so it's a little bit more safe as I pour the broth into my stock pot of soup. Then I place a strainer over top. And you want to put oven mitts on for this part. And then you just pour the broth right into the pot. Just like so. And we'll let that simmer for about a half an hour, and you will have perfect homemade turkey bone broth soup. And I'll try to get you a ladle full so you can see what it looks like. So there you go, turkey bone broth soup, made out of Christmas dinner leftovers. Enjoy!